Welcome to the Hastings Shadmehry Show.
I'm Andee Hastings.
And I'm Mali Shadmehry.
Together, we own Hastings Shadmehry, an Atlanta-based law firm specializing in family law.
This is a space where we talk all things family law and all topics that touch the area of family law, from divorce to custody to self-growth, personal empowerment, and more. We bring you the truth, from our wolf pack to yours. Hello, and welcome to the Hastings Shadmehry Show. I'm Mali Shadmehry.
I'm Andee Hastings.
And we are so excited to have you here with us for our little wolf pack moment together for the day. We have a special guest. We've got none other than Madison Alexander Esquire, one of our associate attorneys at the firm, and we are so excited for y'all to get to meet her. And before we get going with Madison, let's do our normal check-in. Andee Hastings, tell us, are you feeling like a warrior or a diplomat today?
Definitely a warrior, for sure.
Okay, tell us why.
You know, and we talk about this a lot. I feel like y'all have heard this before, but I'm a very protective person by nature and definitely professionally protective of our clients. And I don't know if it's because of the 2 eclipses and the solstice this month, but everybody is kind of crazy. Not our people, but just people in the world. And it really has brought out my protective instincts in our clients. And I just really kind of want to fight some people for our people a little bit right now. So that's kind of where I am. What about you?
For me, I am a warrior. I am going out of town. My birthday is this Saturday, and I'm an Aries girly, April 5th, so I'm fire, and I'm really feeling that fire right now. Again, don't know if it was because of these eclipses or what have you, but Madison and I actually have a big trial coming up, so I've got that on the mind. I am going out of town and ready to be in relaxation mode, but how I feel mentally and spiritually and even physically right now is like, I'm a warrior lying in wait, ready to go attack. And when I have a trial on the horizon, my whole life kind of reverberates around that. It's a big energy. So I'm actually just really excited for that. And I've been having to stay extremely focused to get my life together, to like do everything you need to do, to get out of town, get your dogs taken care of, make sure work is in the right place, make sure everything is put together perfectly. And with bodybuilding on top of that, it's like having a second job. To keep all my stuff together while I travel, get the food right, have a gym plan, make sure the right steps are getting in, and I am just knocking it out. So that's where I'm at. And now I'm so excited. Let's hear from you for the first time, Madison. Are you feeling like a warrior or a diplomat today?
So today I'm feeling like a diplomat.
Okay.
I had a very busy March, so a bunch of hearings, but a couple of final trials. So I'm just kind of relaxed right now, but working up to trial with Mali.
Yes.
So it'll change. That will change.
It's going to be, and honestly, I bet our 2 energies of diplomat and warrior are going to balance beautifully as we prep together.
Truly.
And our first trial together is going to be so fun.
I'm excited. Very excited.
Because Madison, you're right. We're going to delve into this. You did have a busy first month and a half-ish with Hastings Shadmehry.
I did.
Hit the ground running.
I did. The best way to do it.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your time in trial?
I did. It felt very natural.
Okay.
It felt very natural.
All right. Yes, you're a natural in the wolf pack. And now let's get into it and share with everybody why that is. So we want to start with just getting to know you. Tell us, where are you from? Tell us a little bit about baby Madison.
Okay. So I say that I'm from Cordele, Georgia. When I was younger, we moved around a lot. My dad was a preacher, so I was born in Toccoa. All of my family's in Toccoa, but then we moved to Rome when I was like 5 or 6 years old. We were there for like 5 or 6 years, and then in 5th grade, we moved to Cordele. So Cordele is where I graduated from high school. All of that was in Cordele.
Okay.
And wasn't there something around your moving? Wasn't it just dramatic?
Yes. So we actually moved the day after Christmas when I was in 5th grade. So we had our Christmas day, and my parents said, you can keep one toy out. We're going to pack up the rest. The next morning, movers showed up and packed our whole house. And then we moved to Cordele. Yep.
I love that stands out in your mind. It sounds like it was a vivid experience for you.
I vividly remember it.
Yeah.
Every part of it. It wasn't traumatic or anything, but it was just interesting.
Where even is Cordele?
So it's about an hour south of Macon, Georgia. It's kind of between like Macon and Valdosta.
Okay, so that's way south.
Yes.
And I guess we'll talk about how you made your way up here.
Yes.
But so you said your dad was a preacher.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
He's a Southern Baptist preacher.
Love that. Okay, so you
Yes.
were a preacher's kid.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to tell us about tell us about your life as a preacher's kid. What is that like?
It's very interesting. There's a lot of pressure, I would say, just from the context being kind of everyone looking at you, looking at what you do. So I was always very mindful of kind of how I acted or like how people perceived me. And so that definitely spilled over into my adulthood, some good ways, some bad ways. But I think it did give me a lot of like structure that I needed. Yeah. So it was interesting for sure. And then add in that it's South Georgia at a Baptist church, it's a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Perfect storm.
Was it difficult for you in sort of your formative years as like, oh my gosh, think about I'm thinking about my awkward middle school years with braces and not knowing how to use makeup. But side note, in middle school, I thought I looked so cute with my braces, with my unibrow, with no makeup other than eyeshadow from Claire's. That was it, and it had glitter in it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. So tell us, in your awkward formative years, how was that being a preacher's kid, and how did you deal with it?
So I don't really remember there being like that much awkward. I know there were some things like being caught in between at the age, like going through puberty.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that was kind of intense, but I also played softball all of my childhood, so that I was very much a tomboy.
Okay.
Very much a tomboy. My hair would be braided every day. I'd wear like gym shorts to my knees.
Love
T-shirts.
That. Go girl.
Very tomboy.
Oh, okay. And I honestly think that those are things, having to sort of be able to power through awkward situations and be on display and then still have your wits about you and have an outlet. Those are the makings of what makes a great trial attorney.
I agree.
Because you have to be able to deal with whatever's going on in your life and be on display. A lot of people paying attention to what you're doing and whatever, and still go in and deliver and have a way to escape.
Yep.
Okay, so you were a sporty girl.
I was.
Did you play for your high school?
Yeah, so I started playing t-ball. So my brother and I are only 22 months apart.
Oh, wow.
So when he started playing t-ball, my parents asked, like, can Madison come just so she can play? So I was like 3 years old with a helmet that didn't fit, a bat that was like a foot longer than me, going to play t-ball with my brother and all his friends.
The best thing.
I love it.
So then I just stayed in softball. So I played like rec ball, and then I would play school ball with my middle school and high school. But then in middle school, I also started playing travel ball.
Okay.
So I was playing year-round school ball and travel ball
So
until
you
I
were
graduated
really
high
serious.
school.
Wow. And how were your grades in high school? What kind of a student?
I was a straight A student.
I believe it.
I believe it too.
I believe it. I've seen your work product. I'm
Yes.
like, ooh.
I was a straight A student, never got in trouble. Never.
Aw.
I got written up one time in high school. It's because my cell phone rang in class, and I got written up for that. So that's the only mark on my record.
Oh,
That's
stellar.
incredible. I
Yeah.
love that. That
So-
tracks.
It totally
really
does.
does.
Totally does. So tell us about where'd you go to college?
Yeah, so I actually went to the University of Georgia for undergrad. I wanted to, because I was from South Georgia, most people in my school went to schools in South Georgia, and so I didn't want to be around anybody I went to high school with. I wanted something new. So I went to UGA, was one of like 4 people in my graduating class that went there.
Wow. Awesome.
So I went there. I majored in sociology and women's studies. So
Had anyone else in your family gone to college?
So my dad went to college later in life. Part of the reason we moved to Rome was so that he could go to shorter college to get his degree. So he was in his like 30s or 40s when he went. But then my brother went to a very small private school. He wrestled. And so he went there for a year or 2 years. He dropped out. Then I went, my little sister went for a year. COVID hit, she dropped out. So I'm the only one who's actually gone all the way through.
Okay.
Trailblazer.
Yes.
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 Oh, I bet that was so special too when you got your diploma
It was.
and walked and all of that.
And then going to law school, I'm the first person in my family to go to law school.
Okay. And that was the right decision if
Yes.
if we get a say in it.
Yes, I think so too.
I was too. I was the same person in my family to go to law school. So
Yeah, I'm trying to convince my 7-year-old niece just putting it in her ear now. Like, you should go to law school.
I love it.
You can be like me.
That's one of the hallmarks of a lawyer that does like their job and love what they do is when they tell young children, go do it. Because I've seen lawyers that are like, don't go to law school. Don't do this. And that breaks my heart because it indicates a lawyer that really does not like what they do.
And a lot of people.
Yes.
I always encourage people to go.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's beneficial for everyone. I mean, law school teaches you how to think like a lawyer. It doesn't teach you how to be a lawyer.
Right.
And so I think I obviously can tell that the way I think about things has changed.
Totally.
Completely. And I think it's helpful. I think
agree.
I'm a lot more level-headed and rational about things.
It trains you up to analytically just assess different situations. I totally agree with you. And that's what they do in law school is that it's almost like basic training. They break you down, the way you approach things, and then they build it back up.
Exactly.
So that's interesting.
I will never forget, I had a law school professor at Emory who was incredible. And I remember on the first day of class, and I was not the best student. I get very bored. I need action. I did best in classes that was like trial, pretend we're in trial, and you'd be on your feet doing things. But this teacher always kept my attention. And I remember vividly him saying, I am going to flip the world upside down. I'm going to teach you how to see the world like a lawyer. And the rest of the world sees the world upside down. I am going to flip it, and you're going to now learn how to see it the real way. And he totally did. And it's very hard for me to even explain what that means, other than it was such a deep metamorphosis. And that was actually a legal writing class. And he said, I'm going to change how you communicate, how you think, how you read information, and how you see information, and how you see the world. And he really did. He did teach me the way I had been taught in society, how I was taught to communicate and think was backwards from how a lawyer does it. So more on that in another conversation because it's deep and philosophical.
It is. And I could talk about it for hours.
Yes, yes, it's a gift. It really is. So at what point in your heart and sort of just within yourself did you know, oh, I'm going to law school?
So my parents used to always say growing up, like, oh, Madison loves to argue. She'd be such a good lawyer. Looking back now, I know it's because they're like, oh, she's a pain. But like then I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be a lawyer. But I never really thought about it that much until I was in college. I don't really remember like a specific day, but I know I was either going to apply to grad school or law school. And so it kind of was like a perfect storm. Like the political climate at the time kind of pushed me towards law school versus grad school. So one day I just applied and said, this is what I'm going to do. And then here we are. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And where did you go?
I went to Mercer in Macon.
Okay. So was that close to Cordele then?
Yes. It's about an hour away from Cordele. So my parents had moved back to Toccoa to be near my grandparents and my nieces and nephews. But my brother still lives in Cordele. Okay. Him and his wife, they live in Cordele.
All right.
Yeah.
Mercer is an excellent law school, by the way.
Yes. I knew applying to law school, I didn't want, because UG is so big, I didn't know any of my professors, like never had the same people in my classes. So I knew going to law school, I wanted a much smaller community. So I chose Mercer and I do not regret it at all.
Awesome.
Not at all. And I actually got into UGA later, like the week I started orientation at Mercer, and I said, no, I am going to stay.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So were you an all A student in law school like you were in high school, or what was law school
Great
like?
question. So I had a very unique law school experience. So COVID hit the middle of my second semester. So I had a normal law school experience for the first semester. I made really good grades, was in like the top % of my class. And then the second semester, COVID hit.
Oh my gosh.
We went online, didn't come back until the following fall.
Oh.
And so all of our classes were online. We were trying to figure out how Zoom even works. All of our classes went pass fail. It was just like crazy. Completely threw me off my schedule. Like I'm very ADHD. So I need the structure of when to go to class, everything like that. So then when COVID, the next semester, we were doing this hybrid. Like some days you were in person, some days you were online. That was even worse for me.
Yeah.
Made terrible grades that semester.
Oh, wow.
Terrible grades, like complete opposite. So then after that, I realized like I I need to take care of myself. My grades are second. Like, I'm going to graduate. I'm going to pass the bar. I don't care about my grades. And then after that, I did much better.
Oh, I love it. Andee and I were just talking about COVID yesterday, and it's so funny. So, like, while you were going through that, we were figuring out what to do with a law firm. I was still an associate at the time. But trying to figure out what are we doing and starting to have hearings virtually for the first time ever. I remember Andee delivering a huge printer to my house, like the very day everything kind of shut down, and was like getting me all set up at home. And that was just crazy times. And the legal profession changed.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
So you've come in post-COVID as a lawyer and probably had to use some of the skills you learned in law school about coping with all that as we now have a kind of a hybrid law, like whatever, forte, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like, atmosphere where we still experience, so courts, especially where we are in Georgia, was very in-person, very traditional. That's how Andee and I were trained as lawyers, and that's where I'm most comfortable. I love being in the courtroom. But after COVID, we do a lot more stuff, even hearings, virtually, and have had to get comfortable with that. Have you had to do a lot of virtual hearings?
Yes. So when I first passed the bar, all of our hearings were virtual. I don't think I went to an actual in-person hearing until sometime in 2023.
Wow.
Yeah, everything was still remote.
Yeah. All right. So at what point did you know you were going to do family law?
So I actually went to law school wanting to do family law. So I started out and just had my mind made up. I said, that's what I want to do. I worked at a personal injury and medical malpractice firm during law school, but only because of COVID. They had offered me a job the week before everything shut down. So I didn't know what was going to happen. So I just accepted what was in front of me. But no, I only applied to family law positions after that. I just knew from when I started that I was going to do family law.
Why? What made you gravitate towards family law?
It's funny that you ask. So it's a kind of a combination of a lot of things. So my dad, he was the children and family minister in Cordele at our church for the longest time. So I was always around like families and kids, things like that. And then before I went to law school, I took a gap year and I worked for a DFACS SAG for a year doing like juvenile dependency stuff. And so that kind of reinforced it, but I knew I didn't really want to do that side of it. So then I started thinking, and I was just like, I love the drama of family law. It's never the same. It's not like repetitive. You never know what's going to happen. But it also keeps you interested because you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
What you just mentioned DFACS, SAG, and working in juvenile dependency stuff. Can you explain to our audience what that means?
So DFACS appoints attorneys in each county as a special attorney or special assistant to the attorney general. And so they represent the state in dependency actions. So the attorney I worked for, he was the SAG for 5 counties in the Cordele area. And so we would represent the state in like juvenile dependency terminations, things like that.
What can you tell our audience, what is a dependency case and
what
so
happens? Dependency is typically when DFACS or Child Protective Services gets called and they open an investigation into the circumstances of the child. And so if they're found to be dependent, they're then placed in foster care and the parents have to go through the process of reunification. So that's what the dependency refers to.
And I think that those cases are some of the most devastating when you learn the facts.
They are.
And, a lot of what we do at Hastings Shadmehry is high asset divorce, complex custody litigation, and we do see some very frightening things, sad evidence, and all kinds of things that people have lived through and that the children have lived through or are actively living through. But the juvenile court cases take it to another level. And I really did not know that until the past couple of years when we've worked with some lawyers in our firm that have had a lot more experience doing that kind of stuff. And so I think it's very, I value the fact that you kind of started out seeing that kind of stuff and there's some scary stuff out there.
There is.
And that we need responsible individuals that are going to be in this profession to help get things done properly and protect our kiddos and all the people. So what about the bar exam? How was that?
It was crazy. I sound like a nerd. I loved taking the bar exam.
Oh my God.
I loved studying for the bar. Like, I had a really good group of friends all of law school. Like, we were very close. We would study together every day. We'd hang out together every night. Like, we were always together. And so we essentially took over a classroom at Mercer, and we made our own little desk, like barricaded it, left all of our stuff in there all the time. We were there every single day, every single day. And then afterwards, we'd just go to one of our friends' house and play Mario Kart.
That sounds fantastic.
That's what we would do every single day. And so I knew that I was not going to take the bar again. I was like, this is enough. I'm going to pass. There's no other option. And so I took it. I told myself walking into it, if there's a family law question or a torts question, I'm going to pass. First essay was family law, and I was like, oh, I'm good.
Meant to be.
I'm good. And so walked out and said, oh, I know I passed.
Oh my God.
That is funny.
Yeah.
I did something similar in my bar exam. I told myself something and it played out similarly. It wasn't with family law, but.
And I took a guess. I gambled on my studying.
Yeah, you have to.
I gambled. There are certain things I did not even open.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think it's going to be on it.
Yes.
Let's hope it's not. And it wasn't. So
you have to pick and choose how much you spend studying on certain things. But here's a really important question. Who's your favorite character on Mario Kart?
Oh, great question. Princess Peach.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm a Toad girl.
Okay. Sometimes I do play with Toadette. I do play with Toadette sometimes. But we had like tournaments. We would be playing Mario Kart legitimately like 3 or 4 hours a night.
I want to do that right now.
Me too.
I would love to do that in the firm. We can just put a Mario Kart room. But I really like the Nintendo 64 traditional N64 Mario Kart.
Yep.
That was me.
And I literally bought a Switch when I was in law school because we played so much. I was like, I need to be better than you guys. I need to beat you. So I bought one. And whenever we were studying for the bar, I would bring it with me. And like if I needed a break, I'd just pull out my Switch, start playing Mario Kart.
I've never played Mario Kart.
Well, then we go.
We can teach you.
We'll take it up to
I'm
the
totally
cabin
game.
and we'll play Mario Kart on a weekend getaway sometime.
It just makes you feel like a kid.
Love it.
Yes.
I'm down for it.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question about, so you knew going into law school that you wanted to do family law. Do you think that your experience with being in a Southern Baptist family, like how did that impact you? Did you have any pushback from your family about the fact that you're going to be dealing with divorce now?
You know, I actually did not. My dad is kind of like an anomaly for a preacher, so he's gone through a divorce. So I have a half sister too. So like I grew up in kind of a non-traditional family in that sense. And so I remember growing up when we would move churches and my dad would be like essentially interviewing. He would tell them like I've been divorced before. And so it's never been something like we shied away from.
Cool.
So no, they never, I think they had know and acknowledged the fact that that's not the only thing I do. And divorce is normal. It's a normal thing. It's not some bad thing to do. So they really have been good about that.
Love it. So how did you, all right, so we graduate from Mercer, we passed the bar. How did you end up coming up more towards Atlanta?
Yeah, so I just started applying for jobs a couple weeks before I took the bar. I did not apply when I was in school. I didn't think there was a point because I still had to study for the bar. So I just started looking around and I knew I didn't want to go back to Cordele. I knew I didn't want to stay in Macon. So naturally, I was just like, okay, Atlanta. So I just started looking and found my first job through LinkedIn and moved like 2 weeks later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
did you start before you got your bar results?
I did. So I took the bar at the end of July and I started like mid-August.
And you got your bar results in October?
Yes, the end of October.
There we go. That's a fun time.
It was. I really didn't think about it. I thought I would think about it like all day, every day. I really kind of forgot we were waiting on our results.
That's your personality, though.
Yeah, totally.
You're just straight ahead, not focused on sweating the small stuff.
No, because I can't do anything about it. So why worry about it?
Right.
I love that.
I do too.
I was not that way.
I was not either.
I did not used to be.
I did not used to be. I had nightmares about the bar and whether I was going to pass the bar until like a couple years ago they finally stopped. And now I have nightmares about other things.
Yeah.
I still have nightmares about whether or not I actually completed college. Do you ever have those dreams where you're like, I didn't take that exam. I never showed up for the exam.
Yes.
How am I a lawyer?
Yes. Or that the exam is happening today and I didn't study or go to any of the classes.
Yes, I
I've
missed
had dreams that I showed up late to an exam and they wouldn't let me in.
What is that? Why do we do that to ourselves?
Because we're high achievers and we always know we could be preparing more. And in our dreams, it's like,
well, that's true.
On replay, one that I have a lot too is that it's like time to graduate, but I forgot I was in a certain class for the whole semester. So now it looks like I just missed a whole class.
I have that dream too.
What is wrong with us?
And for the record, we went to all of our classes.
Yeah.
We
perfect
graduated.
students.
We were
For sure.
incredible. So like these are just dreams.
Don't look. We can do another episode just about dreams where I can tell everyone all of my dreams because
She remembers everyone.
I remember dreams and I have the craziest situations and I really wish I could tell all of you right now. we'll pause on that. So, all right. So walk us through what it was like joining the first firm, doing family law. Does have any standout memories, standout cases?
Yeah, so I was in a smaller firm. So when I started there were only 3 attorneys plus me, so 4 attorneys. So I got a lot of hands-on experience just immediately out of the gate. And then one of the attorneys left. I was there for about 2 or 3 months. She left, and then I got all of her cases. And so that's when things really started picking up. Like I had my first divorce trial, like February after I passed the bar. Then the next month we had an equitable caregiver trial that was like 3 days long. So that was 4 months after I passed the bar.
That's awesome experience.
And just for people watching, what's an equitable caregiver?
Yeah, so equitable caregiver is it's a recent statute. It was enacted in July of 2019. It's essentially a way for non-biological people to be or like establish custody or parenting time with a child who they acted as their parent, but they're not biologically related. So most of the time it's kind of taken or used by LGBT couples who one party is not biologically related to the child. And a lot of times it's cases where the biological parent, when the relationship falls apart, they cut the other parent out. So that's typically where those cases arise. So there's not that many of them, but they're very heavy.
The stakes are really high.
The stakes
in
are
those
very
cases.
high, very high.
Yes.
And wasn't there some drama around that equitable caregiver case? Like the other side was upset and tried to appeal it, or am I wrong on that?
Yes. So we went to trial in February. We got an order towards the end of the summer. So after trial, we were waiting 4 months, and one day we just randomly get the order in. We won. I got everything we asked for, and then the other side immediately appealed. So in the Court of Appeals, we got it dismissed because he filed the wrong type of appeal, but then he filed an appeal to the Supreme Court of Georgia. Well, then the Supreme Court of Georgia just recently, in another case, kind of cut the equitable caregiver statute at its knees. It really harmed it. And so that case is just kind of pending resolution now. Yeah.
That's a hot situation for sure.
Yes.
Wow.
Do you have any types of family law cases that you really like more than others?
So I like everything, honestly. The equitable caregiver cases, I feel more responsibility for those because of the context. And, these people typically are a parent. And, it's just biology that keeps them from that. And so I think I feel the most responsibility for those because the legal field needs to catch up to society in that respect. So some states already have things in place that are just like this, but Georgia, unfortunately, is pretty behind.
Yes.
They're trying to catch up, but the hurdles from, the legislature and the Supreme Court are really pausing it, slowing it down.
So how, as a family law attorney, do you think you can help with that landscape?
There's things, obviously, like we can contact our legislatures. We can do cases like create case law and precedents in that. But on the flip side, that is all controlled by the client.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like unfortunately, in a lot of the cases I've had under that statute, people just reach a breaking point where they can't fight anymore. And so it's really hard to see those through because that case, it's been pending since 2019.
Yep.
And it's still pending.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He still hasn't seen his children. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So it's things like that where it's just biology. Like, who cares?
Right.
That's their parent.
Right. Well, I'm so glad we have you
Yes.
in the fight so that when these clients are ready to come over here, they will be able to work with you to push through, because we are here to make a difference and make society a better place. And there is a lot going on with our government and society right now where we have a duty as lawyers to do what's right and keep upholding what our Constitution intended. So I love that. That gives me chills.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see you just be a powerhouse for people. I do want to ask you about Hastings Shadmehry.
Yes.
How has life been since you joined us?
It's been great. I think I've told both Mali and Andee, I feel like I've been here the whole time.
I do too.
Yeah, like even like a week after I started, I remember saying, I just feel like I've been here forever.
Right.
Like, it doesn't even feel like I just have only been here this year.
Peaches and cream, you just
Yeah.
fit in perfectly.
And the environment is just so, I don't even know how to describe it. Just a good environment.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you. We agree.
Yeah, and like people say, oh, we're family. And a lot of people are like, no, that's not really true. But no, I
Right.
feel that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we want. And so, that you do feel that is very important to us. We love that.
I so agree. And I think there's so much power in who you surround yourself with. I mean, that is the make or break in life.
It
I'm
is.
beginning to really believe the more we all keep evolving together. Like every time someone new joins the firm, and you're an example of this, we learn about each other. We take on bits and pieces from each other's spirits. We learn how we can best support each other. We might learn of new ways of thinking. That is how we keep evolving as an organization. And so it's just been fabulous to have your energy in the mix. And then for me, in warrior mode right now, like we were talking about, when I go into trial, I care about who is surrounding me from on the home front at the firm, but even in my personal life. Like, I'm going into a battle. I need to be balanced. I do not do well with people that are going to suck my energy when my energy needs to be elsewhere because I'm protecting somebody.
Yeah.
And so the lawyer that I go to court with, with you being second chair with me at a big trial like that is really important. And it's going to be so great for our relationship too, because when a trial attorney goes to court, you're seeing a different side of that
Yes.
person. They're at their most vulnerable, actually.
Yes.
And they're very focused on one area. I'm really going to trust you and lean on you to back me up in certain ways. Even just your presence in the courtroom. Andee and I do that all the time when there's just might be a really challenging trial, which is most of them.
Yes.
You might just need someone to be there in your presence. That's what Wolfpack mentality is all about. And by allowing our lawyers to have some strength together and this feeling of peace going into the courtroom, guess who else benefits from that? The client.
Yep.
Because they are absorbing the energy we bring to the table too. And they feel safe with a pack dynamic that we have. So I just think that you are just the most fabulous addition, and you bring superpowers to the table that were not here before you joined us. So now the world gets to experience what we are here. We're so happy you joined us. We want to ask you a couple other things, but I'll end with that. But tell us about what is life like as a lawyer outside of being a lawyer now, and tell us about your kitty and all the things.
Yes. So I am I have a very strict, I don't take work home usually. So I don't typically work from home because once I leave here and walk into my house, I'm not working.
Good for you.
I did that in law school. It was very strict.
Yeah.
Like, I only studied at school. Once I went home,
Yep.
I'd do whatever I want. So, which
Yep.
is nothing. I literally go home, watch TV, play my Switch.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Because you have to
Peaceful.
decompress.
Yes.
We absorb a lot of energy in
Yep.
our jobs.
Yes.
So
Totally.
I
So
understand
I'd go
that.
home and just do nothing.
I love it.
I have 2 cats, Charlie and Dude.
Oh my God.
Dude, yes.
That's so cute.
That was the name in the animal shelter. And I was like, I can't change that. That's a perfect name. So yeah, Charlie and Dude, they're my little babies.
Love that. So cat mom playing the Switch and just having a chill life outside of lawyering. I love
I do
that.
too. I understand that.
Yep. Okay. So I do want to end on, I want you to tell our audience, what is it that means the most to you out of family law? What are you trying to accomplish here?
Yeah, so I think when I think about that, as family law attorneys, we're seeing people at their worst, their most vulnerable. I think that family law is one of the most important, pivotal areas of law because it's people's lives. It's their kids. They're everything that they've like built or worked for. And so I take a lot of responsibility for that. And so that's ultimately giving people a voice who have never had a voice or who can't speak for themselves. That's what we're here for.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's our Madison.
Yes.
Perfect addition to the wolf pack.
Yes. And we hope you guys enjoyed getting to know Madison. Look out, because she is a force to be reckoned with. And we can't wait to see what she accomplishes and what we're going to accomplish together. We are stronger all together, including with you. So thank you for being part of the Wolf Pack. Please be sure to follow us. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Hastings Shadmehry. And of course, follow us and watch us. Watch the podcast on YouTube. We're also on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio. You can email us as well. And the email is podcast@hsfamilylaw.com. Please engage with us, message us, let us know what you want to hear about. Watch out, some fun things are coming, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
The Hastings Shadmehry Show is a production of Hastings Shadmehry Family Law and 1066 Productions. Produced by Ned Hastings and Kendall Walker and edited by Ned Hastings.